Hi everyone, I'm Isaac Vega, and this is my game Ashes that we'll be showing here at Gen Con today. Alright, in Ashes, you're taking on the role of Phoenixborn. Now Phoenixborns are these like cool demigods in this world that have already saved the world from this horrible chimera race. And for the last 30 years they've experienced a good sense of peace. But now there's this prophecy that's arisen where they have to take each other on and kill each other in order to become the one true Phoenix god. Okay. So it's very Highlander style. They're all trying to take each other on and get each other killed. And you're taking on the role of one of these Phoenixborns and fighting against each other in order to collect the other Phoenixborn's ashes. Now, what's cool about this game, it's a dueling card game, very much in the same vein as Magic the Gathering, Netrunner. And what you're going to be doing in this game that makes it different is that you have these really cool dice that you're going to be using for your resources. You'll notice that different cards throughout the game are going to have different costs right up here that are going to be like symbols on the dice. You also have a symbol that's going to represent your main action and some symbols that represent your side action. So that's what's going on in the game. You're going to be able to bring out different things there. Now what's cool about this game is that you actually get to select 5 cards to put in your starting hands at the beginning of the game. Yep, from the whole deck. Okay. So you select 5 cards, shuffle up your deck. Yep, you can only have 1 copy of each. Okay. So make sure you don't have duplicates.
Just take random now, if you don't know.
This is a duplicate.
Ah, that's a duplicate. Yeah. Final try.
Perfect. Perfect.
That's good.
Alright.
Okay, this is my 5 cards.
So you put these in your hands. And then how the game starts, you're going to roll your dice. You're going to put them in your active dice pool. Okay? So you roll all of your dice, and these are your results that you have during the turn. How the game starts off is that you have these symbols right here. These are the common magic. Whoever rolled the most is going to start off as the first player. So you rolled 5. You're going to start off as the first player.
Yeah.
And you go ahead and get to take the first turn. Now every turn is going to consist of a main action and a side action. This symbol right here represents a main action. So most of the cards that you play are going to be a main action cost. So normally something that you'd like to do in the beginning of the game is probably play something that lets you bring out a unit. So playing that card would be great right now.
Like this.
Yep.
Summon 3-eyed owl.
Yep. So you're going to go ahead and place that on your spell board. Your spell board is like a section right here that you have a specific number that you can have. So spell board you're allowed to have 4 cards of on your spell board because that's what your character allows. I'm allowed 4 as well because that's what my character allows. So you took your main action. You're allowed a side action. Now you'll notice that you have abilities on your dice as well for their special symbols. Those cost side actions. So that's a side action symbol right there. Okay? That you can do in your turn. Another side action that you can do is you can discard cards from the top of your deck in order to change the sides of dice. So let's say you didn't like this result, you can go ahead and change it to the result of your choice.
So the kind of use cards.
You can use cards from the top of your deck. You can use cards from your hand you can discard. You can also use cards that you have out in your spell board. Okay? So, since you already took your turn, I'm going to go ahead and take my turn. Don't suggest a side action for you right now, because I'm trying to cheat. I'm going to go ahead and play down a card onto my battlefield. I'm going to bring out this archer. So he costs me a main action. He's going to cost me this symbol, so I'm going to go ahead and place this in my exhausted pool. He's going to cost me this symbol right here too. And then he's going to cost me 2 basic magic. Now you'll notice here on your dice reference card, these symbols can also represent any of these symbols that you're required to pay. So, since I need 2 basic, I could use any of these dice to pay for it because every single side represents that triangle, okay? But I'll go ahead and use these 2 right here. So now I have a unit of the board. I have a guy that can go out and attack if I want. Now it's your turn, so it goes over to your turn. Now you notice that you can spend a main action to activate this card. So you can go ahead and bring out a unit from your conjuration pile. I suggest you do that right now.
Yeah, there's a 3-eyed owl, okay. So I search for it, right?
Yep, you go ahead and search your conjuration pile. Like you bring out a 3-eyed owl. You bring it out onto your battlefield. You notice that you have a battlefield limit as well.
Okay.
It's going to exhaust this spell. So it has this symbol on here. That means it's going to place on that. That means you can't use a spell again this round. Okay? You're going to be able to use spells over and over again throughout the game, so you're always going to be able to have access to that spell as the game continues. But you can only use it once per round, once it's exhausted. But there are different cards in the game that allow you to remove exhaustion and change things up, and also cards in the game that allow you to play multiple exhaustion tokens. You can only remove one exhaustion token at the end of each round, so things can be exhausted for multiple rounds as things go off. Okay? So that was your turn as far as an action. You'll also notice that your character has an ability that is a side action as well. I suggest using that right now because it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, you may draw one card.
Yep.
From the deck,
Yep,
right?
so it's going to cost you a side action. It's going to exhaust this ability.
Okay.
And it's going to cost you 1 heart. So you're going to have to move the heart over. You draw a card.
Okay.
And it also forces me to discard a card.
Okay.
Now, Saria focuses on decking people out. When you run out of cards, at the beginning of each round, we're going to draw back up to 5 cards. For each card that you can't draw, I take a damage. So eventually, this is going to put a timer on the game. Saria focuses on trying to take advantage of that timer. Jess is all about, come at me, I'm going to take out your units, I'm going to go ahead and do damage to you behind the scenes. Go ahead and attack my units because they're going to go ahead and love the damage that you're giving them and then do damage back to you. So they all have very interesting decks. There's 6 different decks in the game. If you order through our website, you're going to be able to get the 7th character, which is Demona Unsara promo. And that's pretty much the gist of the game. We go back and forth from round to round. When we run out of things to do during our turn, we run out of dice, the round ends. We'll remove 1 exhaustion token from each card that we have in play. Any units that have a recovery value, if they would have taken wounds throughout the game, they would recover that much at the end of the game, at the end of the round. Okay.
And how do I attack? Is this also an action to attack?
Yeah, an action to attack. You can go ahead and take a main action to attack. You can go ahead and use your character, move them forward. Let's say I had some multiple characters in play. There's 2 ways of attacking in Ashes. So let's put some guys out there. Let's put some extra guys out here for you. Okay. So let's say I want to attack as my main action. I'm going to go ahead and move as many guys as I want forward. So I can go ahead, since both of these guys aren't exhausted, I can attack with both of them. So I'll attack with both. Now I choose a target. There's 2 targets that I can choose. I can choose to attack a Phoenixborn, or I can choose to attack a unit. Okay? If I choose to attack a unit, my Phoenixborn can jump in front and defend that unit. Okay? If I choose to attack the Phoenixborn, each unit can block 1 unit. Okay? But only if they're not exhausted. So let's say these 2 guys were exhausted, and I was attacking your Phoenixborn. You could only block 1 of my dudes, and this guy would still get through and do his attack damage to her.
Okay. That just goes through, so I get 2
right,
damage.
Yep, this is their attack value, and get 2 damage there. And then there's lots of different abilities that trigger when attacking. There's things that you can do throughout the game to beef up your attacking. You'll notice that like this snake has this ability that you can go ahead and place that on as a side action and give him +1 and +1 to his life value. There's alteration spells that you can play on units that you can go ahead and give them +2 life, +2 recovery, so they last longer, they're able to heal more. There's lots of different little combos going on there.
Okay. So that's how my whole kind of, I see, I have a lot of olds, and these also kind of discard one part of.
Yeah, they have the ability to do that. So a lot of the pre-constructed decks have a nice set of synergy, but there's also lots of cool options for deck building as well. You'll notice that Saria's face is right here. This card can only be in her deck because it's special and unique to her. Okay? I have a card right here, Fear, that's only unique to her. But every other card that doesn't have that symbol can be built into any other's deck.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's just by chance that I got this olds. It's just it can be completely different.
No, well, yeah, it can totally be completely different. In the rulebook here, we have the suggested deck builds, so you can go ahead and build them like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's see.
There's also another cool mechanic in the game. You'll notice that there's some cards that allow to get more powerful as you focus. I believe you have some.
Talk about the things that you don't have the cards for.
Let me see.
Hey, who's that heckler that keeps interrupting?
Yes.
Gee, the people that they let in.
All right. I don't have any of these two decks, but there are some of these decks. What's cool is that when you place cards on your spell board, if you have another card that is the same card, like I have another Summon Blood Puppet, I place that card on top of it. It doesn't take up a spell board slot for me, but it's called now focusing the spell. Now I can go ahead and use a spell twice per round because I have two separate cards. So I can summon 2 Blood Puppets per round. What's cool too is that some of these spells have focusing abilities that you can use throughout the game that make the spells more powerful as more and more copies of the spells come out. You're getting better and better at the magic. And it also creates a sense of continuous building up and adding more and more options throughout the game as the game continues.
And how long is one game?
It takes about 15 to 30 minutes per player. It plays 2 to 4 players. Learning the game might take a little bit longer because there's lots of cards to get used to. But once you get into it, most games can last 20 to 30 minutes between 2 players, and fairly quickly once you understand what the cards are.
And you would say it's a difference to play 2 players or like in 4-player mode?
Yeah, it does have a difference. I highly suggest learning the game as a 2-player game, and then trying out the 3 or 4-player version of the game because you're battling multiple people at the same time. And there's also a draft variant within the game, so you can go ahead and draft your own decks and then play against each other as well. So all of that is labeled in the rulebook that you guys can go and find out more there. Thank you, cameras.
That was very good.
Contest at the cameras. Thank you.